that you decided to join me as we delve into all aspects of the paranormal and unexplained. My goal is to talk with individuals and learn more about their own journeys and gifts. The paranormal and unknown are not to be feared, but to be respected. So embrace the tools and rituals that can help enrich you both spiritually and mentally. Keep an open mind as we walk together on this new adventure. So excited to be here. We are filming on location at the Haunted Hotel, and as you know, it is rich and just steeped deep in history. It was a convent. Allegedly a serial killer lived here as he went through New Orleans and killed different individuals. So I'm like, what better way to kick off a paranormal show than to be at the Haunted Hotel right on Ursulines. So I'm really excited to introduce you to our guest, Kook Teflon. She is no stranger here in New Orleans. She is a psychic medium, a death doula, and I could really go on for miles to tell about your many gifts and all the things that you bring into and make our world better. But I'm not going to be talking, well, just a little bit because you know me. But, and I think you like to talk a lot too.
I love to talk.
So meanwhile, this will be a 5-hour show. No,
get the popcorn.
Right, get the popcorn because we're really delving in deep. But no, we're going to find all things Kook and find out what makes her you.
Awesome.
Right.
I'm excited to share.
So first of all, I was saying how that you are a psychic medium, and
yes.
I know that you do readings personally, and you also do them for in conjunction with Carrie Roy.
Yeah.
And so
We're
tell
colleagues,
us.
yeah.
Right. And so tell me about that part. Let's get started on that first.
Okay. I've been friends with Carrie Roy for like 10 years, and so when I moved here full time, we kind of started merging with that and became colleagues. And so typically through the office downtown, I'm doing full just medium readings more than psychic card readings. There's a little bit of that, but medium is the hot thing because there's not a lot of us in town. There's a lot of tarot readers, there's a lot of, all the other things. And so we keep quite busy with that. And I'm able to give people, when they come to me, basically all I have is I arrive in the morning, I have names and times. I don't have phone numbers. I don't know anything else. And I have them sit down. I don't need an object. I don't need to touch them, nothing like that. And what I explain to everybody is this is going to be teamwork. We're going to work together on this because the way that I process these messages is it's like you're remembering a dream and I'm playing charades with the other side. And so in those charades, I'm going to relay whatever they show me. That could be, we're talking about Doritos. It could be, they show me a lot of typical things that would be associated with them specifically. So I get pings in my body for how they died. I get letters for their name, and it could be first name, last name, nickname, middle name. And then the little pieces of the puzzle that really wrap it into being distinctively them would be things that they liked, like food, music, activities, collections, places they worked and lived. A lot of times they will give me specific detailed messages about things that have happened since they died with their loved one, just to verify that they're around and watching. They're not with them 24/7, but they are with us a lot. So
yeah, they actually show up when you're least expecting sometimes. Yeah. But they kind of, like you're right, they kind of pop in and out. And what some people may not know is what is the difference between a psychic and a medium?
Yeah, psychic is more of diving into what's been going on with you, looking into future things. My mom was also a reader, so she always said, anyone can tell you about your future, but if someone can tell you about yourself leading up to that moment that you can confirm, then you can go ahead and look forward. And a lot of times what I do with that is I give people tools, because most people are scared to come get a reading because Hollywood, there's been a lot of people that will scam you, so people are scared. It's a very vulnerable chair to sit in. Even when I get a reading, I get really teared up and stuff. So I like to give people tools to get through whatever's coming up. And I'm not going to sugarcoat, but I'm not doom and gloom either. I know that our lives are like a book, a novella, so every year is a new chapter. So sometimes stories get a little twisted and have a flat tire, and so I try to, my biggest goal is to help people when they walk out feel like they can conquer and have hope with whatever's going on.
Right. And what I found that with me being a medium is you're kind of more immersed like in the death part.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm a death worker. I'm a death walker.
Right,
I'm a psychopomp aid.
Yes, and we're going to get to that.
Yeah.
Yes, and so the death part, like I'm, like want to hang out at graveyards and talk and watch shows and just like really, and then like different things to communicate with the dead, and so what I think, just as my personal thing, that's really made the demand for mediums to kind of be on more on the rise, is because of with COVID, there's been so much more death,
Right.
and like people thinking about death.
Well,
and
I
like,
think people are also isolated, what they're not used to. So many people are not inside their bodies. They're going to work. They're working 9 to 5. They're taking care of things. They're constantly trying to be busy because in America, that's what they tell us is important, that you are valued by how busy you are. And so then you become detached with yourself. What COVID did, I noticed, was people were alone or with their families, with their mates, and they were starting to call me and go, oh my God, my house is haunted all of a sudden. I'm like, it always has been. You're just slowing down to pay attention. Welcome to my world. So a lot of this work, when you are walking with the dead, when you're working with the dead, when you're a psychopomp aid, when you're a medium, you have a lot of isolation because you need to know what is yours and what isn't. It's like when I get pinged, somebody's had a heart attack, someone's had ovarian cancer, someone's had diabetes. When I feel that in the moment, I know it's not mine. So, before I start any session, I scan my body so I know what's going on. And if we're kind of all over the place and we're not in our bodies, then we aren't able to focus on that. Does that make sense?
It does, because you have to be really aware of who you are, and like you said, your feelings and everything, because you have someone coming in and you're like, oh, my back hurts, and is it me or something? But no, you have to know yourself well to be able to give a good reading and to be accurate. And
you need to be accurate, because you can be a bliss of, oh, your grandmother's here with cookies. It's like, okay. But if you can give them that detail, I get disco grandmas, cha-cha grandmas, I get all kinds of people, and so, it's like, no grandmas are all alike, but there is the typical,
of course, stereotype
where people are going to just, say that surface thing because they know when someone's in grief or pain, they are going to take every little piece they can. So for me, I'm the integrity of, if something's not coming up, I won't make it. I'll just be like, it's really quiet right now, I think that's important. And then you asked about like my business other than at the office downtown.
Right, your death doula.
Right, I'm more of a death midwifery. I'm more into death midwifery.
Okay.
It's different. Okay. When you're a doula, you're going to do a lot of the paperwork and stuff involved with the death, right?
Oh, no.
I hold space. Yeah. I hold space while people are dying, and a lot of times it's for the living, because the living are who suffer after the death, right? So I've held space for a person dying, then with their family and counsel, and then I've led the funeral because I'm an ordained minister. So it's like a kind of combination. I don't do a lot of that actually right now, like since I've been doing ones because I'm so busy with the medium stuff. But my ritual performances are more active. Like today's in bulk. Happy in bulk, everybody. If you're aware of the Wheel of the Year, are you familiar?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
So this morning I woke up at dawn. Okay. So this morning I woke up at dawn, started a fire, built a huge Bridget altar in my backyard. Bridget is the Irish goddess, the Irish. She was the first goddess of Ireland, and she is a metal worker. She is the protector of mothers. She's pretty badass. So today is her day, her feasting day, you call it, for a spirit, right? So it's in bulk and feasting day. So I lit 19 candles, one for each virgin that's at the flame while she was at war, and we made butter for her because she loves dairy. So what we did was I had an incantation, which was some lyrics from a Sinead O'Connor song that I love. And there was 9 of us in the circle, and we all shook it. We all made butter. I could go buy butter and just cut it up for her, but Spirit wants you to do the work. You can't just, rely on Spirit just to do whatever. It's like a person where if someone's giving you a ride every day to work, and you never offer to buy lunch or give gas money, how are they going to feel, right? So Spirit work is important as a medium. I have 6 living altars at my house. I am feeding my spirits. I'm acknowledging them, and I feel that's a big part of my backup team on the other side. You want to acknowledge that, right? So so today's in bulk. That's what I did. I woke up at like 5:30 in the morning. 9 people came over. We had fire. We had circle. We acknowledged the change of the season. It's the witch's new year, basically. So the 8 spokes of the wheel is acknowledging the seasons through the year. So typically there's 4 seasons if you go in the general public, but as a practitioner there's 9 seasons, and so it keeps you in check and in line because routine turns into ritual, right? So if every 6 weeks you're honoring the season, whichever it is, and building an altar and being intentional, it's going to empower you in your work, whatever it is. You don't have to just be into like psychic, medium, paranormal work. Any work. I have clients that are brain surgeons. I have clients that are mothers from Ohio, and I keep it pretty surface in the office, but I do help encourage to dig into your lineages and see where your ancestors came from, if they're from Ireland, from Japan, and honor the folklore, the folk magic, the beliefs that come from there.
Well, you know what? Ever since I met you, I've always, I don't know, felt a kinship with you, and it's just amazing, like that, how much your knowledge is of everything that some people may consider it, and it's not like always paranormal. It's more of a maybe mystic or whatever that you call, like, what would you call that you would be in, like the medium and the there's
a couple words. Esoteric.
Okay.
I'm an initiated high priestess as a devotee of Hecate. Okay. I devoted myself to different things I'm going to be 50 next year, so I've spent most of my life.
I have like 15 more to go.
You're so full of it.
But so I've spent a big part of my life. I was raised by Slavic women, so even though they were Christian, they were also psychics and mediums and stuff too. So things weren't squashed when I was a kid, when I would see things and hear things, or I'd have dreams. And so, I've spent most part of my life. Of course, I did turn 20 and became a punker and did all that whole thing and was part of the queer coursing in San Francisco and all that. But for the most part, most of my life, I've been somehow having my toes in mysticism. I love folklore. That's what I'm passionate about. I call it granny magic. It's what, if you go back a few generations, like these are the things that our ancestors were doing, because it's honoring the earth, the seasons. We talk about Samhain, Halloween, and it's all death and spooky, but really that's when they would get all the meat ready for the winter, right? And so it's turned into a spooky thing. It is a spooky thing. It's death, but
know a lot about you as far as the mysticism and then the mediumship and all the living rituals or the exhibits that you do and all that is
ritual performance.
Ritual performance that you do is really cool. But I bet you that some people out there may not know. I'm sure. Well, probably a lot of people do know, but your heart is really amazing, and then how that you feed the homeless, and that when you during Ida, you were cooking meals for maybe 40, 50, 60 people.
That was the beginning of COVID.
Right.
I will be totally honest and transparent. I stayed for Ida. The first 2 days I was delivering ice to elders and food, and spirit came over me. I feel like it was my mom, and she was like, "Get the F out of here now."
Right. And that was Ida, but for COVID, you were like...
40 meals a day, and my friend delivered them to everyone in the quarter, because the news was saying that there was hotels for everyone, and that's not true, and everyone was scared inside. They didn't know how many people were on the streets, and if you think about all the establishments closed, people not walking, they were left for, which we know that's nothing new. Everyone's always like, oh, it's new. This has been going on forever. This has always been going on, forever, for centuries. We leave people in the streets, we do all those types of things. If you look at Jesus, that's what he was doing. He was helping all those people not be alone, so if you look at different spirits and deities through time, especially ones that were crucified, burned at the stake, most of them were aiding and helping people that the elitists didn't want to help, and so they don't like that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I just really, that endeared you even more to me, when I realized that you were doing that, and that just, to me, just says so much about your character, and in addition to the amazing things that you do.
It's definitely part of my spirit work. I always say, if you're going to have spirit work, if it's not based in social justice, check in on that. Because magic, witchcraft, religion should all be based in social justice and helping others.
I'm totally down with that and totally agree with that. One thing that I like, that I wanted you to touch on, and it's really, and the more that I got to thinking about it, I'm like, you know what, Cook's right. And get that on a t-shirt, Cook was right. But it's important not for someone, I think we all have gifts Like some
yeah.
people are more, prevalent than others.
It's
such
like a
as
muscle.
yourself.
Yeah.
Right, and it's what you put into it is what you get out of it. But I really like the term that you use, spiritual hygiene.
Oh yeah. I'm writing a book about it right now.
There you go.
Because I really feel it's so important. Because everyone asks me, how do you do this work on so many different levels with so many different people? Because I see about 75 to 100 clients a month with downtown and my personal practice. And I would not be able to do it without spiritual hygiene. And I am putting ego aside. I don't take every client on as this is my thing. This is a whole other thing, but I put it in the middle between us in a box. I take the lessons of the ghost pipe. I don't know if you know what a ghost pipe is. I'm really into herbs and the medicinal properties and the spirituals attached to them. So ghost pipe, it's a plant that grows in the shade, and it's a taker, not a giver. And when it grows, it looks like a beautiful rococo mushroom. And a lot of plants that when they grow and they face down are underworld plants. So they help you with shadow work and stuff, right?
Okay.
So ghost pipe is gorgeous. It's like I said, rococo. It's like white and pastel pinks and blues. And if you touch it and try to harvest it without its permission or without intention of the best intentions, it turns to black muck.
Oh, wow.
And you can't do anything with it. But if you get its permission, you can make a tincture, and it can take away migraines and stuff, but also enough of the tincture is like a psychedelic. And what it does is it doesn't take your pain away, it puts it in a box in front of you so you can sort through it. And so that's what I go into with each reading, is I take the lessons that I've learned from the ghost pipe. And I put sometimes I get a little teary in readings and sessions because it's intense. But I put it in a box in between us. And I've learned that from the ghost pipe.
So if anybody is interested in having a reading or anything, because you make the herbs and just dolls.
Yeah.
Everything.
Intentional dolls with, I was on Royal Street, but the gallery closed, and I'm just only able to do commissions right now, and I'm booked out 6 months to a year. Yeah. So I do a lot of portrait dolls, spirit dolls, and I fill them with herbs and different items that will charge them. I also make personal dolls for grieving, empowerment, so they're like a talisman for you. Mm-hmm. And I teach classes and stuff through COVID. I haven't, because I'm not into the Zoom thing. I just can't.
I hate Zoom too.
That's
why we're here.
Yeah, I just
can't. I just couldn't be like, let's Zoom. I can't.
So I'll start those up again. I've been teaching those for about 8 or 9 years. And so folks will come to me and they could bring items from, say your father died and you have some patches, some little pieces of clothing of him and stuff. And I have an herbal mix that we put together, and we stuff the doll with. We have a circle. We're very intentional. We sit and we sew. It's 3 hours. And then that becomes like a healing tool or a talisman, right? And then there's something that you could do with the items that you have of grandmas or dads or lovers or whoever, best friend that died. And you make it yourself. I can make it for you, but I like to have people make it themselves too.
So you do you have like a circle and people come in like kind of like a workshop type.
Yeah, it's a workshop. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
And so, and then I also make dolls that are like $600 to $2,000 that are more like portrait dolls. So anything from like Boy George to whoever it is, I all make portrait dolls of. I've made collections.
Vincento's made me a Johnny Passion.
Oh, yeah, that's my brother.
Yeah,
I'm the one that got him started making dolls.
Really?
Yeah, we lived together in the 90s.
Okay.
And when he moved here, he was still a tile setter. He was amazing tile setter. If you go to San Francisco at 8th Street, any of the tiling that's done on the fronts of the shops and stuff, that was all him. But yeah, when he moved here, he was making little tile people, and I was like, you need to start making dolls. I'm always like his pusher.
Okay,
and
gotcha.
yeah, and we pushed him, and then he's like this brilliant, beyond belief doll maker.
Oh, he is. He's incredible. And like the Johnny Passion doll, it has the the piano keys and stuff, and it's really cool, and it looks just like Johnny Passion.
I love it.
Yeah, it's great. But there's so much. I mean, we can discuss so many.
That's why today I was like, should we talk first? Because I can go when I do podcasts. I'm like, we need to know what we're going to talk about, because I do a lot of different things, and we'll go spiraling over here.
I want to know it all. I don't. I really do, because like I said, I think you're just like such an incredible person, and just really you have so many gifts to share and so much knowledge and everything. So.
And I'm constantly learning, I'm rereading Starhawk right now, Spiral Dance, if you're familiar with that. Do you know who Starhawk is?
No.
She's like this amazing spiritual feminist from like the 70s. She's still alive. She still does circles. She's prolific. She's like the grand poobah of witchcraft and just with really like empowerment, self-empowerment. Even though she's like a feminist and really about all women, she's also about like equality with the feminine and the masculine, and we need to bring it both in. Anyways, it's a classic book, The Spiral Dance, and I'm rereading it. I haven't read it for like 30 years. And it's been interesting rereading it and realizing how much was rooted in me as like a late teen, early 20-year-old, and reading it now where I'm 49 and I'm like, I'm 48, I'll be 49 on Beltane, but yeah.
I was going to say your birthday's on Beltane,
yes.
So yes.
I'm born on Beltane. I am born the year of the Wicker Man, May 1st, 1973.
Like the
I'm
movie.
proud of that. I'm proud of that,
Like
yeah.
the movie, yeah.
And I have a huge Beltane event that I put on every year too.
We are learning, so much. It's like we have packed so much in like 20 minutes. I mean, everybody's probably going to have to rewind and listen. But it's great, because you are a wealth of information. And I'm so excited to have you here as my first guest. And I'm really honored for you to be here. But we have a studio audience, and you're welcome to come anytime and watch us film the show. This show will be pre-recorded and not like the other show, which is live. So we're going to ask if some people have any questions in the studio audience that you would like to ask Kook or myself. Probably mostly Kook. What? Somebody might have one. Okay. Does anyone have a question for Kook?
I did. I had wanted to know what exactly was spiritual hygiene.
Okay.
Spiritual hygiene. A little bit of what I was talking about earlier is like not taking everything on, right? Because I feel as readers and healers, a lot of folks at first, especially when you're starting, you feel like you want to help everybody because you have this awakening and enlightenment and all this. So that can drain you. It can make you crack. I've seen a lot of readers that are amazing, powerful, strong people crack because they've taken it all on. They've not taken breaks. They've all that. Part of spiritual hygiene, one of the most important things to me is spiritual tea baths. And so I say get a relationship with a few herbs and build a relationship. That means talk to them. Herbs have medicinal purposes, and those medicinal purposes have spirits attached to activate them. So, I might say if you've had a really hard day, what you'll do is put a big pot of water, steep it on the stove, turn off the water, throw in some fresh thyme, talk to it because thyme is great for courage. During the Roman times, they would pin it on soldiers. In fact, when I was making meals for my friend delivering during COVID, I would pin thyme on him every day because he was so courageous to come out and deliver food because a lot of people weren't, I might say get 3 oranges, peel them, put the peels in the water, eat the oranges while you're in the bath because they are going to be a road opener, unblock you, right? Move you forward. And be very intentional when you're putting the orange peels in and be like, you need to help me clear my path because there's some blockages, there's some detours, and I need to get there.
So you take the orange peels and what? Because Kalua is here, of course, with us, and she had a moment. So you take the orange peels and what?
Orange peels, thyme, and maybe do bay leaves, right? Mm-hmm. Bay leaves bring in prosperity. And so you steep it like you would a tea, and if you don't have an actual bathtub to lay in, that's okay. You can let this cool down and be very intentional, and then you can pour it, however you need to pour it over your body. And what you do is you embrace what those herbs bring in, and you let whatever does not belong to you or energies that are, draining you from the day. It could be that person that was a jerk to you at the store. It could be, you have a heavy duty job, or you're a mom with 5 kids and you're just like, I'm going crazy. Whoever, I think everybody can do spirit baths in a way that is going to be helpful to keep you centered, to keep you focused, and so everything's not clumping on you. Like I always look at it as like you're at a restaurant and there's gum under the table and you go to pick something up and you're like, what? There's gum under the table. Everyone's BS and energy that you take on kind of clumps on you, and all of a sudden you'll be covered in it. And that's when you crack. I say crack, I just say like, you're overwhelmed, you can't focus, you feel like doomed, you get, sometimes there's a fine line between the depression, because that's physical, that is mental, that is real, but there's also the spiritual aspect, and that's where I specialize in, is the spiritual aspect of it, and this is how I feel it's helpful. So yeah, you pour it over your head. Imagine the water going down the drain, and that's everything that does not belong to you going down the drain. Now, if you're going through like a very intense breakup, I would say take a bath in it. Take a cup of that bath when you're done, water, and take it to a tree that's off your property or at a crossroads. Leave it. Don't turn around. Leave it behind. Let the elementals have it.
I know about them.
Yeah, and so and then with spiritual herbal baths, you want to do so many people are fed from Hollywood black candles are satanic and all these horrible things, right? Black candles you want to burn during these times because they're for protection and banishing. So if you're doing a spiritual tea bath, so that's one thing. I'm also big on what you put in your body. How processed is it? Is it made from a machine, a chemical? It's important to, and I'm not perfect with that all the time, but if your great-great-great-grandparents don't recognize the food you're eating, you probably shouldn't be eating it because it's not good for your body and it interferes with your energetic process of things. I do drink a Coke once in a while.
Also say Taco Bell would be out.
But so that's spiritual hygiene too. So if you're feeling that I am overwhelmed, my body hurts, do ginger shots. Take a spoonful of local honey. Don't buy honey in a honey bag because it's chemically induced. You want to get local honey because it's medicinal.
Right.
You want to take the energy of the bees because they're working for the queen bee. You're the queen bee. You're the queen bee. You take that spoonful of honey every morning before you put anything else in your body, before you do readings, before you're going to work or whatever it is.
Let me ask you something because when you said honey, my gosh, cemetery honey. Have you heard of it?
Oh, of course.
I know I keep saying I knew. Just 2 sentences to break it down. I recently accepted my gifts, and so I'm on this journey, and that's why I wanted you all to be here with me on this journey, so we can kind of find out and discover things together, and that we all can have spiritual hygiene and be more in tune with what's out there, and also more in tune with what's good for ourselves and others. So I just found out last Saturday about cemetery honey, and I was like, oh my God, that is so cool.
Oh yeah, bees
from England. There's there was some from England.
Over at St. Rock Cemetery, you can get some too.
You can get some too? Wow.
I can show you. Just kidding. But you get permission. You get permission. Always get permission.
I live right around the corner from St.
No, don't you go get it for us.
Always get permission from the dead.
Okay.
When you go to the cemetery, leave coins. I usually leave 9 cookies, 9 coins. I try to bring offerings like that. I do that on a consistent basis with working with the dead. I will drive by the cemetery a lot and leave gifts and offerings at the gates. Okay. Just to be like, you know what, thank you. I love you. I acknowledge you.
That's cool, yeah. Well, that really,
that's part of spiritual hygiene.
That, like you said, and paying it forward too. You want the spirits to show you things or give you answers, or to be there when you're doing your readings. Like you said, you have to kind of pay it back to.
Yeah, I couldn't do it without them, and I acknowledge. I walked in to get a reading at an art walk 6 or 7 years ago in Seattle, and I sat down, and the girl's looked at me, and she's like, whoa, you have a caravan of spirits, and the difference between you and most people I see is you acknowledge all of them. You have a relationship with them. And I'm like, yeah, I have to, because I didn't sleep for about 25 years because of it. No, I had insomnia forever, and until I did some training as a medium, Susan DeMatt was my teacher, and she taught us boundaries with the dead. So many people are so worried about the living. We need to make sure that also, we have boundaries with the dead, because that will really help you with your spiritual hygiene too. And it's just claiming your spaces, claiming your body. Another thing with spiritual hygiene is altar work. Altar work to me is key to any work that you're doing, psychically or paranormally or anything, because it's a place for the living and the dead to meet and for you to leave offerings. So many people just, they're like, oh, I have an altar and it's tchotchkes and little things. It needs to be fed. So that means water, coffee. If you come from a long line of alcoholism, maybe don't put alcohol in there every day. And you can change things in your current path by altar work, and being okay, you get a shot when we're celebrating, or if there's been eating disorders, be you can get a piece of cake when this thing happens, and you want to follow through with that too, right? You can put fresh herbs. I will put fresh herbs on the altar and dry them out. Then they're charged with the ancestor magic or the spirit magic that they're on, and then I'll burn that.
Okay. Does anyone else have a question?
That's very good. Let me ask you one more too.
Okay.
And we do have other people.
And that's some of the spiritual hygiene. There's more. I actually have a Patreon because I'm writing booklets on this and a ritual for routine and one other topic So I have a Patreon, and that's where I share like on a couple times a week, and then about different things in this nature and in this work and on this path. And I do spiritual mentoring too. So for people that are like, I really feel witchy, but all I do is wear like a hat from H&M, or I burn sage, and I'm like, okay, so I'll help mentor them and get them on a path what's solid for them, and it's different for all of us. I always say it's like I'll give you a recipe for potato salad that works for me, and then you do and add to it what you'd like, and we figure out, like I said earlier, where your lineage is from, where your interests are. Are you a necromancer, or you just want to do light? Like, I'm going to help you find the in between, because I have people that come to me that are very into the necromancy darkness, which I'm also, but you also got to be in the light, and you got to keep a foot in each so you can have balance, right? Because the sun rises every morning, and you don't want to ignore that.
Right. Do you have a question, Dawn?
How does somebody become a mentor of yours? How do you become a mentor of somebody else, I should ask?
Right now, I'm taking people. I'm not taking anybody new right now until April. But like online through my website, you could sign up. I do like where you can sign up for 12 sessions with me, where they're 12 30-minute sessions, or we do 6 1-hour sessions. And I'll give you homework every month and things that are, I have a general. Of course, you need to have some like platform of what I'm focusing on, but then I do like customize things for you to do like homework wise and stuff every month. And I work with the wheel, like I said earlier, and that's an important part of it. So
Have you ever come across somebody that you've mentored that really has a gift that they haven't ever really?
Yeah,
and then you find out that, wow, you should have been doing something intense with this a while ago?
Yeah, I don't like to live in regret or in the past. I like to live in the now. So I'm like, all right, you're ready now. That's why you've come to me, or whoever it is, right? So I'm like, embrace it whenever you can. Like, I don't want to do the woulda, coulda, shoulda. There's no 5 of cups here.
Right.
I got 2 full glasses of wine. I'm not going to worry about the spilled ones in front of me.
What is your website?
KookTeflon.com. Easy. Teflon, Teflon. I was Miss Oblivious for a very, 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 very long time. And I became Kook Teflon when I turned about 40, because Kook, I wanted to embrace that on my 40th birthday. And Teflon is nothing bad sticks to you. You can get away with murder too.
Well,
So
that's a whole nother show.
Yeah, I had a collective of 7 of us, and we were the Teflon sisters, and we did ceremony and pretty much like initiation in a sense. And that was the first time I really shared with others, because I was raised by a witch. I was raised by a healer, a practitioner, a woman that believed in all that. My mom always said, don't join a coven. And so it's funny, because now here I am. I do like ritual performances. I mean, I just did one for Yule. There was over 50 people in attendance. In Seattle, I was getting up to 200 people in attendance. There'll be a focus, like if it's, your parents have passed and you're an orphan. I don't care if you're 14 or if you're 60, it's going to affect you. And I hold space in that. And it's also a ritual performance, but it's legit. It's not just for show and tell. It's legit. For suicide, for addiction, whatever it may be. Yeah, for loud motors.
New Orleans, so, I mean.
Luckily, I have a loud voice, so
right.
I'm sure.
Well, not only that, too bad it couldn't be like somebody playing a trumpet or saxophone or something.
No,
but we
it's
get
just
the
a motor.
motorcycle. Yeah, we get the motorcycle. But you know what? Thank you so much. Before we go, does anyone? Oh, we got a question in the back.
I have one more question.
Okay.
So, Kook, if someone was going to come to you and say, I don't even know what the hell is going on. I'm restless, I'm anxious, I'm overwhelmed, I don't feel easy on the inside. Like, I just need to where would you, recommend them to start? Like, what would you
I'll
say?
consult them. It's different for everybody. Like I said, I have a platform. I'm also initiated and trained in compassionate depossessions. But those are I want to make sure if you're on medication, what your experience and path has been. I have therapists that send their clients to me after they've been with them for a while, and they're like, it's your turn. Because,
Right.
the physical, the mental, and the spiritual are all connected.
Like, if they've done all of that
Right.
therapy stuff, and it's just not, and so they're going, okay, I'm coming to you for an alternative. I'm coming to you for guidance.
Yeah. I'll ask them their history, what they've done, what they believe in, because I want to respect that. As when I was trained as a death midwife, that was something that was very important and pressed upon us, was honoring every individual's faith, religion, what they need and want. And so, I have people that live out in the middle of Mississippi that are churchgoers that I help. They may not be on my 12-step plan, but so I try to accommodate everybody that and respect everybody with integrity of where they're coming from. I will look into like where like mental health and physical health and things like that. It's different for every person. So but
basically
yeah,
it would be like
a consultation.
Consultation. Gotcha.
And you know, sometimes we may not mesh. Maybe like I'm a little too much, or not ready, or maybe vice versa. I'm like, I don't know if I can. You know, I'll consult with your spirits too when you come in.
Right.
And I'm able to turn it off. Like I don't walk around like open with that. You know, even though I'm like, watch out, John Edwards, because I've been doing like 7 to 12 person parties as a medium and giving 2 hours of boom, boom, boom
Right. Well,
to
we
a
got
group.
boom, boom, boom now.
I know.
Right. So I want to thank everybody, all of our studio audience, for coming out and watching you live, even though this is recorded. And thank you to you for joining in. And we will be broadcasting and having different people come and stop by and talk to us like every other week. So we appreciate you. And be sure to go on KookTeflon.com and learn all about Kook. And you can just get into all this grooviness with her, and she's such a blessing, and I'm glad that she's, you know, took time to be with me here tonight. So thank you so much, and if you have any questions or anything, just reach out and I'll get you in touch with Kook, or you can go direct. So thank you so much.